we always talk about next level performance, increasing your earnings, and this is kind of a more of a deep dive into licensing versus franchising, because there is a difference. Now, for years, we always sold against franchising with licensing. Now that we do represent a number of different companies in franchising, there is a difference. And it's just, you have to be aware of the difference, because some businesses fit nicely with the licensing model. Some prefer and fit with the franchising model. So you really have to understand the difference to know what you're up against. And, I don't put down franchising, because some people prefer that franchise model. So for us, it's okay. If they want to go that direction, it's okay. We have something for them too. So let's talk about the difference. And we did a deep dive a little bit, I believe, in the 5-part training, but let's talk about the differences. So franchising, first of all, requires an operator, in this case, we call a franchisee, to pay a royalty, right? So royalty, does everybody know what a royalty is? Royalty is really just, in fact, Jeff Rubenstein has owned franchises before. Jeff, give us a quick definition of a royalty, please.
Yeah, royalty is something, well, you first pay a franchise fee up front, and then you pay a monthly royalty fee. When I was at the UPS store, it was 8.5% of gross. So you pay 8.5% of all of the revenue that you do for that month. And that's what a royalty fee is the percentage that you pay from your revenue each month to the franchisor. That's an interesting concept. I've heard that Subway goes up to 13 to 15% as their royalty.
Wow.
So,
it's crazy about that too, is if this is regardless of profits, 6 to 13% off the top. Even if the company loses money, you got to pay 6 to 13% of your gross sales right off the top, regardless of any profit or not. It's terrible.
Yeah, and it varies, depending on the industry. Some I know are as low as 5%, but yeah, some of them can, be at 12, 13%. As a licensor, they can't charge or collect any royalties, because if they do, first of all, that puts them in a whole different class. It kind of opens them up to be a franchise. So they don't charge a royalty from sales volume, and the licensee makes 100% of the profits. So again, could be a difference that some people like, is, hey, I don't have to give anything to corporate. Anything I make at the local level is mine, and I don't have to take anything off the top. Franchises, because of the royalty aspect, you got to have financial reporting. They have to know exactly what the franchisee is doing day in and day out, week in and week out, month in and month out.
What's terrible about that, John?
Go ahead.
Nowadays, you don't even report it. They're tied into your checking account. They're tied into your banking. They see every single sale and they take it. I think, Jeff, they're even taking some of them are taking it daily right off the top.
Yeah, they took our royalty right out of our account, and you have to tie your bank account right to them. There's no, I'll send it to you, or I'll send you a check. They go in on that date, and you have to have the money there to pay them.
Checks in the mail. Yep, doesn't happen. And licensing, because one thing about the licensor, they're not involved in the day-to-day, so there's no reporting requirements. Difference, franchisor, they benefit from the royalties, and in turn, they do offer different levels of support. So when a franchisee is paying that royalty, there is an expectation that they're getting the support that they require or feel they need from the franchisor. In licensing, there is no royalty or revenue share. So a lot of times the licensor might pay for marketing and sales, but they usually don't, because it usually falls on the individual licensee. So a lot of times, even with the royalty that a franchisor charges, that doesn't include a marketing fee or marketing percentage. A lot of these franchisors now are charging a 1, 2, maybe 3 points for marketing, national marketing. So with a licensing model, there's no marketing or no royalty, and it's usually left up to the individual licensee. Now, it's important for the licensor to provide kind of the information so they can market. You look at the business providing the tools that they can use to market, but it's not a fee, and it's certainly not a commitment, because the licensor wants to see the licensee perform and do well, right? So marketing becomes important. One thing with franchisers, of course, specific branding, they must follow specific guidelines. Usually it's, do it their way or no way, or hit the highway. That's the franchise model. With license, they have the option, certainly not the obligation, to use the name, the logo. They can call themselves whatever they want. And the licensors can only make suggestions as far as how to run their business. Ultimately, it comes down to the licensee, their own discretion. Now, of course, a lot of people like to follow a proven plan, and it would make sense for them to use the branding. But we've seen it before with Ideal Furniture, when we opened up over 320 locations, not everybody used the Ideal Furniture name. Some people used a different name, different branding, different logo. Guess what? It's okay. That's part of the licensing model. Now, there's a benefit to using that national brand for the licensee, but it's an option. It's not an obligation. Any questions up to this point that anybody has? Okay. Just push in through. It's good to know the differences. A lot of times the franchisees, they must, they sell certain products, or they have to buy exclusively from the franchisor. Now, why is that? Well, when they dictate exactly what the franchisee can and cannot do, or what they can buy, they take a product. Listen, you have to sell this product to your customer. Well, do you think there's money made when they sell the product to the franchisee? Of course, it's another revenue stream. So they're kind of locked in to use the products and services of the franchisor. That's the way they do business. With licensing, they can sell usually any product they want. There will be some brand and quality minimums that need to be met, but nothing else beyond that. It really gives the licensee full autonomy. And in most cases, there is in licensing a good service or product that a licensee can sell. And there is some money made between, let's say, wholesale and re-wholesaling. But it's not a requirement for them to use a good service or product from the licensor. And I think I got a couple more here, but franchisors, and I've heard the horror stories. They can cancel a contract with any franchisee. They don't have to follow any, if they don't follow the exact business model, right? It's, again, their way, no way, hit the highway. I've heard, and I've talked to people firsthand that lost their franchise for a technicality that literally they felt they were wronged. They should have never lost it, and it was taken away from them. And that's how it works.
Here's the best example, John.
Go ahead.
We look at the last 17 years that John and I have been selling licenses, selling over 1,000 licenses. Not one lawsuit in 17 years. Franchisors, it is so litigious. It's absolutely incredible. You research just any one franchise, you'll see hundreds of lawsuits. And the average what was your document, Jeff? How many pages would you say your franchise documents were?
It was about 250 to 300, Larry. It's about this thick.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy why And again, we sell it because we don't want to leave money on the table. And there are franchisees that make money, but there are so many positives, so many advantages to being a licensee that you just need to understand the difference. And if you put your focus on, like we have, on selling licenses, where the average closing time is 3 to 4 weeks compared to 3 to 4 months or more on a franchise to get paid, you could really do great with us. I know there's a lot of new brokers on the call right now, John.
For sure. Path of least resistance certainly is licensing. Our licensing, kind of a standard license agreement, is 10 pages at max. But right, I've seen the normal franchise document is 250 to as much as 400 pages. Talk about pretty intense and a lot of information. So licensees are independent business people. They have flexibility. They have latitude. That people love that. Some people don't want to be told what to do. Some people want to be told what to do. It's okay. There's no right or wrong here. We're just kind of detailing the differences. Franchises usually have limited territories that they are committed to and can't go outside that boundary for business. Could be very restrictive. It certainly can have an impact on income. Licensees usually can sell anywhere in the United States or globally without restriction or paying any royalties. And for us, we have advanced licensing, which is your licensing model, Main Street Chamber franchise brokers. We have a strong portfolio